as we get out of our ego, get out of our head and get back into our body, that in of itself is self-care.
And there are certain ways of moving and dancing with music that just bring me home.
Jeniffer, thank you. Welcome to the Girlfriend Doctor Show.
Oh my goodness, I have been looking forward to this, as you mentioned, for quite some time. So I'm so glad that the stars aligned and we get to be here together talking about this really important, powerful topic. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, my honor. Now, you have such a story to share. Will you share that with our audience?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It is my story, but with the women that I work with, and I know you work with, it's many of our stories. I know for me, my background that basically is a non-loving, not anymore. I've transformed this now, but back in the day, I think it's right around puberty, unless you were, a chubby child and really ridiculed really little. What I have found is that a lot of times it's right around that time that our body begins to change and we start to become so much more aware of our physicality. And for me, my first love is dance. So I did become a professional modern dancer. So from the age of about 13 to really when I became pregnant with my daughter at 25, I had a completely abusive, neglectful, judgmental, adversarial relationship with my body. I was afraid of food. I didn't really know what my body wanted because it was controlled all the time. You talk about, and I love finding your happy weight. I didn't know what that was because I was told that I wasn't good enough at my body's natural weight. And I was not heavily overweight or anything like that. And I know many women who felt, and to this day, my daughter's in her early 20s. I just turned 46, and she's my, firstborn. She talks about her friends having just this body dysmorphia because of social media and everything that's put in front of us. And I will share something she shared with me at my birthday party that made just watershed tears flow down my face, because I've been able to not only shift this story for my own self, but I was able to hand a new paradigm to my daughter that has completely changed the trajectory of her life and her relationship with her body. This is probably one of the greatest gifts that I feel like I can hear from her now in her early 20s. But in my story, it was really her pregnancy that woke me up, because it was the first time where I began to connect to something deeper within me that wasn't everything coming, right? All the different diets and lose 10 pounds in 10 days, and you got to carve your body and shape your body. I was tapping into my own inner body wisdom. And really through that pregnancy and then coming through that and shifting some things in my life, I really got very, very hungry for everything mind, body, spirit connected. Now, I was raised in a family with, of course, my mother, who's a thought leader, who did raise us to know that thoughts become things, and how we talk to ourselves is so important. And she did her very best to teach me and show me, to be positive and to say loving things to myself. But the outside world was so much stronger, in some ways, particularly as a young woman. And so I began to really go on this journey, Dr. Anna, to look for doctors like you, or to look for books on the mind, body, spirit connection. And ultimately what I was able to find was this incredible solution, the program that I needed to transform my inner limiting belief systems into more empowering, not just from an intellectual standpoint, but from an embodied standpoint. Like your book wasn't out back then yet, you know what I mean? Other books that are out now weren't available on this subject. A lot of what I had to piecemeal together just came from my own passion for transforming this for myself. And I went from a whole slew of disempowering, limiting beliefs and ways of treating myself just to a real complete transformation to now, I know what my body is wanting and needing in terms of nutrition, not just so that my body looks a certain way, because of course we all want to look hot and sexy and beautiful. I've been married 26 years. I want to look good for me and for my hubby. But more than that, I want to feel really amazing when I wake up. I want to have the energy. I want to have optimal functionality in my body. And I want to continue to be able to run after my boys. I also have two sons who play football and they're very fit. But even beyond just my own kids, I want to be that grandma, right? That fun, playful, sexy grandma, hopefully 10 or so years from now, and still fit and happy. And there's a certain way to feed my body that isn't for the short-term result, but is really for long-term longevity. And I feel like I have found that. And I love your program. I'm very much in alignment with your anti-inflammatory eating, but also really listening to the body. So having framework, but also freedom within that framework to find that happy place. And so I was able to take everything I learned and, I put that now into programs, coaching programs that include health and well-being science. Because as a doctor, you understand and know the importance of the science of it all, but also transformational coaching with the mind, body, spirit connection, that brain, body, spirit connection, so important. And then probably one of the most unique things about what I do is I found conscious dance. Now, conscious dance is the opposite of technical dance. Technical dance, there's a right and wrong way to do it, and you have to follow your teacher's lead, which, by the way, I'm a big fan of all of it as a dancer. There is a space for all that fun technical dancing. But conscious dance completely reprogrammed my relationship with myself and my body and my higher power. And I was able to really discover that our body just loves to dance, period. Like, let's
We're
just,
designed for movement, right? We were
yeah.
designed for movement. So talk about this conscious dance. What's a way one of our listeners can get started in conscious dance?
Yeah, well, I imagine you, Dr. Anna, as a goddess in her kitchen or in her bathroom or living room who just turns on the music and probably just boogies and moves her body joyously and freely. And that's ultimately what conscious dance is it's not anybody else telling you how to move, but it's being in a safe space where you can allow the movement or the spirit within you to move your body the way it would love to move. And for me, conscious dance is such a beautiful way to shift. If I'm in a funky mood, within one song, I can shift out of the funk. If I'm low energy, because I've been sitting at, how many of us are a bit tired of 1,001 Zoom or, online classes and sessions where we're having to sit still, I can pop on my favorite song, stand up and do a little bit of an energizer break and feel totally refreshed and more fluid and flexible in my body. It's also a spiritual practice for me. So if I'm feeling disconnected from my soul self, I have a few songs that I'll pop in and I just let the spirit flow. And I remember that for me, this life is all about, we're on this spiritual journey. We're a spiritual being having a human experience, right? So every circumstance of our life is the curriculum of our spiritual evolution. So when I take a breath, I remember I'm not breathing me. When I feel the beating of my heart, I remember I can't beat my own heart. And there are certain ways of moving and dancing with music that just bring me home. So that all the stuff, all the conditions, all the stress, all the anxiousness that's so easy to get sucked into, that, trust me, I get it. It's been a very, very stressful year. And yet I've been able to come home to this place of faith and inner peace with this conscious dance practice that has been such a blessing, not only for me, but also the clients that I work with, to have access to this practice as a powerful tool.
I love it. I grew up with a mom who would play music and dance around the house while she was doing work or chores or just for the fun of it. So I grew up with the house had music in it all the time. And that's certainly something I love. And I need to do that more. Jennifer, it's a really good reminder to do that more. I did take up during this pandemic country dancing. I did way back when, but I just started again two-stepping. And so once a week, go to the Cowboys Red River here in Dallas, the Dallas, Texas area, and they give a lesson. And that's more of an organized dance and a plan, but then there's the freestyle afterwards. And yet I hear what you're saying about when no one's watching, when you can be completely free and at home in your body. And I think that is truly a beautiful, beautiful reminder and beautiful observation, is that as we get out of our ego, get out of our head and get back into our body, that in of itself is self-care, is regenerizing. I just created a new word, between rejuvenating and energizing. We call that regenerizing here on the Girlfriend Doctor Show, but it is a regenerizing experience to really get back in your body. And that is grounding, and that's meditative, and doing it with movement is a way, I believe, to raise your vibration. And so I love this, and I love that tip. And we will be right back in a minute to go over some of the things that you talk about as far as, with the body freedom, empowerment, the beliefs that are abusive to us, as well as the beliefs that we want to now embrace and really absorb into our being, that will empower us. So these healthy beliefs and practices to get us into that, from that place of self-criticism to self-love in all its, in all that it's meant to be. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel here and get those notifications, and comment below. Let me know your thoughts, what you loved, and what your action step is.